All right, so let's go take a look at this. So first thing we want to do is law of sines to figure out our angle A. So we'll go ahead and put sine of 34 degrees and 36 minutes over my length of A, which I'm sorry, my length of B. Fix that, which is going to be 30.9. And then that'll be equal to sine of our unknown angle A, and we'll divide that by 38.4. So what we have to do here is we'll cross multiply here and here, and then after we multiply, we're going to divide by the 30.9. So we should end up with sine of angle A is equal to 38.4 times sine of 34 degrees and 36 minutes all over 30.9. So now I'm going to go ahead and stick this all in the calculator. So let's see, 38.4 times sine of 34, and then I got to tell it that it's degrees, and then 36, and then I need to tell that we're talking about minutes here. And if you're unsure how to do that with your calculator, you could always divide 36 by 60 and add it on as a decimal to your 34 degrees. So, I know calculators are all different how it works. It should be fairly straightforward though on how to use minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and divide by 30.9. And so we get 0.7056 and so on. And so then I need to take the sine inverse of both sides. So we'll go ahead and do that. Sine inverse of my answer right there. And so we get 44.88. I'm going to go ahead. I want to take a snapshot of that so we can talk about that. All right. So here we are. Okay, so now what I have to do is convert that decimal part into minutes. And so every degree is worth 60 minutes. And so you have a partial degree here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to subtract off that 44 so that I'm just looking at that fraction of a degree. And then what we'll do is multiply that by 60 to figure out how many minutes that converts to. So we'll multiply by 60. So we'll get 53. So sine, sorry, that's messy, of angle A is 44 degrees and 53 minutes right there. So rounding to the nearest minute right there. So we definitely have at least one triangle, possibly two, right? So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and finish off the first triangle that we know definitely exists, and then we'll see about the second one in a minute. So what we got to do here now is figure out angle C, and then we'll do the law of sines again to figure out the length of side C. So we know that triangle, all the angles add up to 180. So all we're really going to have to do here to figure out angle C is to take 180 and subtract off 34 degrees and 36 minutes, and then also subtract off 44 degrees and 53 minutes, and that should do that for us. Okay, so let's see. This is the same thing as 179 degrees and 60 minutes, right? So I'm going to go ahead and subtract this off right here. The 34 degrees and 36 minutes. So let's see what we get here. All right, so if we take away 34 from here, that would leave us with 145, and then we take off 36 from 60, and that'll leave us with, what, 24? Seems right. Okay. Okay, so then now we need to subtract the 44 degrees and 53 minutes. So you'll notice I'm taking away more minutes than I have available. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to siphon off another 60. So I'm going to put this as 144 degrees, and I'm going to add 60 minutes to this, so that should give me 84 minutes here now. So I took a degree and converted it to 60 minutes. And then minus, let's see, 44 degrees and 53 minutes. And then now we'll do our subtraction. So if I subtract 44 degrees off, let's see, that'll give me 100 degrees. And then if I subtract 53 off, that'll give me 31 minutes. So that's my angle C. And now we'll go ahead and do law of sines to figure out my side C. And so I'll just use the ratio I have up here with my angle B and side B. So sine of 34 degrees, 36 minutes over 31.9 was the side length. And then equals, this time I do know the angle, so it's going to be sine of 100 degrees and 31 minutes. So we'll go ahead and put that there. And then over side C, which we don't know in this case yet. So once again, what we're going to do is we'll cross multiply and then divide. So C is going to be equal to 30.9 times sine of 100 degrees and 31 minutes, all divided by sine of 34 degrees and 36 minutes. So let's put this in the calculator again. So let's see, 30.9 sine of 100 degrees and 31 minutes. And then we have to divide that by sine of 34 degrees, 36 minutes. Close that. Okay, so we're looking at 53. I think if we're rounding, I'll double check that. 53.5. 53.5. And so far, when I was checking the directions, we actually have all the same answers so far. So I'm not really sure. I guess we're going to look at the second part in just a minute, but I'm not really sure where things have gone wrong, because everything we have matches so far. So let's go ahead and look at the second case and see if we can find anything there. Your angle A already looks good, I know that. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. I'm going to grab some of this stuff, and then I'm going to start a new page. Okay, so the angle A is looking at that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at case 2. And what that would be is that the angle we'd be looking for, we'll call it angle, oops, yeah, that's fine. Angle A sub 2, which would be 180 minus the angle we found for our first case. And I already solved it. Let's see, so you'd have to borrow 60 and so on. And so we'd end up with, let's see, let me just make sure I'm very careful about this. So that'll leave us with 135 degrees and 7 minutes. And I believe that's what, yeah, that's the same thing you had. Okay, so let's look at our last two parts. Okay. So now that we have that, we want to go ahead and find angle C. And so the way angle C would work, we'll call it angle C2, is the same way we did on the first page. We're going to do 180, and then we're going to subtract off the angles that we do know. So angle B never changes. That's still going to be 34 degrees, 36 minutes, and then we're going to subtract off 130, oops, 100 and, let's see, 35 degrees and 7 minutes. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'll pause this and work it out real quick, and then we'll look at it and see if we got the same thing. After I did all my algebra, we came up with the same answer. So everything's been the same so far. So we got one last part. Hopefully, you know, every once in a while, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while there's a bad question on my math lab. And what I mean is, even though you put in the right answer and it will tell you, no, you're wrong, and then it pops it up and it's exactly what you typed in. That happens very rarely, but it has happened before. But let's go ahead and finish this last part just to be sure. And so once again, we're going to use the original information we know about angle B and side B. So sine of 34 degrees, 36 minutes over 30.9. And then over here, we're going to do sine of 10 degrees, 17 minutes, and then all over sides, or yeah, side C. So I'll put it as C2 for side 2. Of our second triangle. So now, once again, we'll do all this cross multiplying and dividing. I'll go ahead and so I came up with, if we round that, it's going to be 9.7. So C2 is going to be 9.7. And now that is different from what you have. And so that might be what we were looking for all along. So you just might want to double check the algebra on this, but I've looked through it a couple of times and it looks correct to me. So you might just type something wrong on the calculator or something. But I hope this helps you out, and send me any more questions you got.